Revamp show. This is the Tater Thoughts. Tater Thoughts or Tater Dater. Way I got that name is when I was younger. They would call me Nader Potater. And then as I got older, just people called me Tater. In fact, my wife calls me Tate as short. So it just keeps getting shorter and shorter. But anyways, this is a new formatted show. It's kind of similar to the other one. I want to take the focus off drinking. I don't mind if you drink. I'm a libertarian. I'm trying to drink a little bit less. Not been very successful, but at least I thought about it. It's kind of like going to the gym. You always say, Monday I'm going to go to the gym, and you always start with chest. So you get this big chest, but you never follow through with the back and the legs. But it's kind of like that. We're going to church. You always feel good when you come home from church. But getting there is a little bit of a problem. Same with my drinking. But I digress. Today we are going to tackle culture wars, and specifically corporations and culture wars. And what I mean by that is, I always wonder when corporations are just going to stay the hell out of culture wars. Whether you agree or disagree, I mean, I am a libertarian, so I don't take an issue with the culture wars so much. I'm more socially liberal and fiscally conservative. So to me, you can do what you want as an adult, just do not pass the bill to the taxpayers. For instance, the Michigan helmet law. I always said, hey, you have a right to me, if you're dumb enough to ride a bike without a helmet, I mean, I wouldn't do it, but you have the right to do it. Just don't pass the taxpayers the bill. So if you're on Medicaid, please don't do it. Okay. But Michigan had like kind of a cool libertarian view on it. They said, yeah, certain riders can ride without helmets from now on, but they have to take an extra policy out on their insurance that will cover the medical expenses and the extended medical care if you become a vegetable. So, I mean, that's a good point. That's the way we should be in this country. Don't ask, don't tell. I was always against don't ask, don't tell in the military. Why? Because a soldier off duty, or sailor, marine, whatever, they should be able to do whatever they want as long as it's not illegal. And all the states, minus a few that had old laws in the books, being gay or transgender or whatever, cross-dressing is not illegal. So why did the military care? Well, they said it was a readiness issue, but that was just so stupid. Nobody in the field, when you're deployed and you ain't showered in 30 days, I don't think too many people are going to be hooking up, whether it's heterosexual or bisexual or gay or whatever. So there's always a dumb law. When you're off duty, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want, and nobody should be able to get up in your business, right? Me, I have a chicken tender habit, beer, every day. You guys hear my friends. Every day almost I will eat chicken tenders, fries, and usually swallow it down with a beer, okay? Bottom line, if I die of a heart attack, then, nobody should have to foot that bill, except for the benefits that I've earned. So, bottom line, that's the view I take. I think corporations and social issues, they should be able to do as they wish, but just be prepared for the consequences. Okay? People may feel propagandized, and people more and more are starting to boycott that. For instance, people want to see just a Disney movie. You don't have to throw in all the extra added stuff. You know? People just want to go to a rock concert. The band members, when they start spewing all their usually leftist stuff, but the guy from Stain, Aaron Lewis, he'll stop a whole concert for 20 minutes and go on about Trump. I think both sides, it's equally annoying. Nobody went there for a political rally. They went there to hear the dude sing. But it's his business. And if he wants to do it, feel free to suffer the consequences if you screw up. Okay? And the other one is outside the workplace. Now, the workplace, it's a private employer. They can, if they want people to be respectful of pronouns and all that stuff. But, and again, I'm a libertarian. Don't care what you want to call yourself. But I don't think you should have to force everybody else to call you a certain thing. I just think that it's a free country and nobody should get canceled for it. Again, that doesn't count for the workplace, because at the workplace, you are being paid to be there. And if you don't like it, go find another job. I know people say, oh, times are tough, but I'm a recruiter. Times haven't always been tough. So it is an employer's market out there. Now, where I do think it would be dumb is when you backpedal. Bottom line, Bud Light stepped in it. They stepped into the culture wars, which I say, hey, why would you want to alienate half your customer base? Why? Especially if it's a controversial issue. All for, the very few percent that might actually increase drinking Bud Light, which is probably not their beer of choice anyways, on the far left. But then you try to backtrack, and you never really formally disown it. You just start, sponsoring the UFC with $100 million, or a $3 million charity for homeless vets, or paying a lot of money for Peyton Manning and others to stand around with their beer. Now they've even gone as far as they're sponsoring the slap contest, the power slap contest. I mean, pick your poison. I get what they're doing. I think that their market has always been the sports and extreme sports and kind of like that, college frat mentality that the one lady said she was trying to get rid of. Okay, as a brand, you are you kind of own it. You know, a certain segment buys it. For instance, Volvo or Subaru is kind of marketed more to leftists and people from the outdoors and kind of hippie-ish people, right? Whereas Built Ford Tough is kind of towards the country guy, you know? So own the market that you're in. I mean, I'm not here. I'm not a marketing major, but I think it's saying, again, how not to recover. If you did it, either retract it profusely and disown it, or go ahead and own it completely. But what Budweiser did is Bud Light, they just kind of went soft in the middle, and then they tried to have it both ways. You can't have it both ways in a culture war like that. Anything that's symbolic of actual culture wars, whether it's abortion, the LGBTQ plus rights, all that stuff. And again, libertarian, not against it myself. If you want, do it. It was kind of like the marriage debate with the gay marriage. I don't think government should be in marriage at all. Marriage was largely a religious sacrament, whether with regards to the religion. Okay, so what the government should be doing is recording contracts, and then you take your contract, your lifelong vows, and you go to whatever religious institution if you want and have them bless it. You know, that's really what the government should be doing. Sometimes there's going to be backlash from the left and the right. Unfortunately, Chick-fil-A, they kind of took a stand, and they're going to be a Christian organization closed on Sundays to this day, even though they're probably losing a lot of money. I don't know if you remember, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. A leftist went through a drive-through, and poor little girls are sitting there working the drive-through, and the guy's like goes on about her employer and I think it was LGBT thing. I think it was the Prop 8 in California debate, and it caused a counter backlash, and people lined the streets on certain days when the left was calling for a boycott of Chick-fil-A. Conservatives went out with all their money and bought Chick-fil-A, and to this day, though, it's always popular. So is it really go woke or go broke? Not necessarily. I mean, what if you're a progressive brand from the beginning? I think American Apparel, I think, is one of those companies. But then there's certain companies that were just institutions. You know, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Disney, all these major companies, even the beer companies, right? The Marlboro Man and cigarettes. Yeah, I mean, they were American mainstays. They should stay the hell out of culture wars. Stay out of it. It doesn't matter what your employee base thinks. You have a company vision. Now, that's not to say that you discriminate against your employees. Of course not. You treat everybody fairly because you want a healthy workforce. However, when it comes to your public image and what you're going to throw money at in your advertising funds, be wary of getting into those culture wars. It's only a recent phenomenon that these companies get so deeply involved. And a lot of it's because their employees demand it. Well, guess what? They're the employee. You're the employer. You can tell an employee you can have whatever view you want, but when you're at work to perform a function. Okay? Corporations can get involved in non-controversial issues like veterans housing. I mean, who's against that, right? Feeding the poor. Who could be against that? World peace. Who could be against that? Unless you start getting into the Israeli-Palestinian thing going on right now. I just think all national brands should always avoid getting involved. That, folks, is my thoughts on Tater Thoughts.